On May 17th, Indian media reported that after a recent conflict, debris from a suspected PL-15 missile fired by a J-10C fighter jet fell into Indian territory, with some fragments largely intact. The Indian military quickly collected the PL-15 debris and, after preliminary examination, promptly began hyping plans to replicate China's black technology. However, while India insists on saving face despite the impracticality of such claims, the rest of the world views the place-to-15 wreckage as a treasure. Reports suggest the Five Eyes Alliance US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, along with France and Japan, are all intensely interested in studying the debris, seeing it as a rare opportunity to analyze China's advanced weaponry and identify vulnerabilities in its cutting-edge systems. Media notes that the PL-15 represents the pinnacle of China's air combat technology, designed to compete with the US AIM-120 and European Meteor air-to-air missiles. Featuring an active electronically scanned array ESA radar, bidirectional data links, and a dual-pulse motor, its technology is globally advanced. While Indian officials have loudly dismissed the missile, their rhetoric cannot obscure its sophistication. US, French, and Japanese experts hope to deeply analyze the relatively intact PL-15 fragments to study details of its navigation, propulsion, and electronic warfare technologies critical for developing countermeasures like jamming or deceiving the missile's radar, particularly in potential Indo-Pacific conflicts. For France, analyzing the PL-15 holds special significance. Western media has widely claimed that a J-10C using a PL-15 shot down a French-built Rafale jet, a claim India denies. As India's primary arms supplier, France has a vested interest in ensuring the Rafale maintains a technological edge over Pakistan. Uncovering the PL-15's weaknesses would bolster India's air force in future India-Pakistan aerial conflicts. Notably, India initially claimed the PL-15 was intercepted by its air defense systems and crashed in a damaged state, with its critical radar seeker likely destroyed, thus of limited value. However, observers believe this is a smokescreen to lull China into complacency. British media notes the PL-15 debris has become a bargaining chip for India to strengthen technical cooperation with the US, France, and Japan. By offering access to the wreckage, India could potentially secure much-needed advanced technology transfers to boost its domestic military capabilities. Military analysts stress there is little need to overreact to reports of the Five Eyes and others queuing to study the PL-15. China, which exports advanced weapons, designs its systems with technology leakage in mind. For example, the PL-15 variants sold to Pakistan are reportedly different from those used by the People's Liberation Army PLA. Additionally, China follows a deploy one generation, develop the next, pre-research a future generation weapons development model. The PL-15, already in active PLA service, is no longer the country's most cutting-edge air-to-air missile. Rumors of the PL-17 and next-gen prototypes suggest China has moved far beyond it. Even if foreign powers gain access to the PL-15 debris, it would have minimal impact on PLA preparedness. India's boasts of reverse engineering the PL-15 reveal more bluster than capability, given its dismal domestic defense track record. The Akash air defense missile, launched in 1983, remains unmass-produced after 40 years of delays. The Astra air-to-air missile, hyped in 2018, relies on imported processors and infamously nearly struck a VIP gallery during a test. For India, replicating the PL-15 faces three insurmountable hurdles. 1. The PL-15's ESA radar uses 190 to gallium nitride TR modules requiring 99.9999% purity wafers and nanometer-level fabrication technologies far beyond India's semiconductor industry, which struggles to produce even smartphone chips. Its most advanced fab still uses 28 nanometers legacy nodes. A Raytheon engineer recently stated that even given a decade, India couldn't master high-precision semiconductor packaging. Here's the reality check for India's ambitions. 1. Propulsion paradox. China's dual-pulse versus India's single-burn struggles. China's PL-15 uses a dual-pulse motor, enabling two-stage ignition for a 200 km range and for geo-overload turns maneuvers that outclass most adversaries. In stark contrast, India's reverse-engineered Astra missile relies on Soviet-era single-use solid fuel, with a paltry 110 kilometers range and cumbersome, ox-cart-like agility. As DoD's chief engineer conceded, we haven't cracked the fuel mixture formula, with 3 lab explosions during failed tests highlighting their technical disarray. 2. Hardware hegemony, domestic upgrades versus export cuts, China's elite variant. The Place 15's domestic version boasts 256 gallium nitride TR modules in its AESA radar, doubling anti-jamming capabilities. Its range surpasses 200 kilometers, a testament to cutting-edge design. Export version sabotage. To mitigate tech leakage, China's export variant is intentionally downgraded. Range capped at 145 kilometers, radar modules rolled back to 2015 standards. Production onslaught. Chengdu's Pulse production line churns out Place 15s at a staggering rate, 30 missiles for every one India disassembles. State TV recently unveiled a 24/7 automated flexible production line with a daily limit of 100 missiles per line with undisclosed multiple lines nationwide. This isn't just mass production. It's a self-reliant ecosystem, from raw materials to assembly, with 100% domestic equipment a global rarity. 3. West's vulnerabilities versus China's self-sufficiency. US dependence. The US Tomahawk missile factory still uses manual labor for parts transportation and assembly, with engineers manually calibrating fire control systems. The IM-120D line, America's core air-to-air missile, produces a mere 500 missiles annually via outdated manual processes. Worse, it's critically reliant on global supply chains. Solid rocket motors from Japan, precision electronics from Switzerland and the Netherlands. A 2022 chip shortage alone crippled US military production, exposing systemic fragility. China's warp speed. China's automated lines achieve near-perfect yield rates, ensuring battlefield reliability. In peacetime, daily production sits at 100 missiles. In wartime, that could surge to 1,000 plus daily. As one analyst quipped, China produces missiles like sausages consistently, efficiently, and without foreign handouts for the next generation. PL-15 as a stepping stone. What's publicly disclosed is just the tip of the iceberg. The PL-15 is already overshadowed by China's PL-17 hypersonic and Place 21 beyond visual range missiles in active service. This relentless innovation cycle, deploy one, develop the next, pre-research the future, keeps China ahead of adversaries fixated on yesterday's tech. 5. Industrial might, supply chains and scalability. China's dominance stems from a full-spectrum domestic supply chain, from basic materials to advanced manufacturing, no foreign choke points. Even civilian factories, for example, auto parts manufacturers can pivot to military production, a flexibility that lets China surge production capacity in crises. As US Defense News calculated, China's missile stockpile already exceeds the US and Russia combined, growing 10 to 15% monthly. The takeaway: while India clings to a single Place 15 wreckage, China's military-industrial complex is a juggernaut of automation, innovation, and self-reliance. The PL-15 isn't a pinnacle, it's a statement. And for the US and its allies, the writing's on the wall. In the missile race, China's lane is far ahead. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unfiltered insights. Until next time, stay sharp.